Hey Raindrops, now before we get into this video, I want to talk to you about joining my community. Yes, my YouTube community of subscribers. So make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. It helps build the channel and build our community. I love it when you guys comment and post. So remember, make sure to like and subscribe to this channel.
First of all, I want to just let you know on behalf of the viewers, right, and the people who, as you know, reality television has been around for many, many years, and it gets increasingly more difficult to find original, authentic, raw, and all the best ways, programming, and that's what you and your family have delivered.
Oh,
So,
wow. Thank you.
some gratitude. Thank you for being vulnerable and just kind of putting it all out there with your family. Talk to me about that process for you, Jamisha, when you all know or whether we know that this was originally not even something that you guys intended on doing and developing, but it kind of just started. Talk to me about your experience with the process of developing Family Empire Houston. What was that like for you? Were you nervous, or was it just fun and exciting? What was it like for you, Jimmy?
No, my sister was nervous. Okay, Dustin.
Okay.
I was so nervous. And the reason I was nervous, people that know us prior to Family Empire Houston, I'm private. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm mom bear, me and my kids, I am
Yeah.
a very private person. Now, Nicole, she just she all over social media with all her followers. Like she is engaging daily. I'm just like in the office working, trying to make sure this ship is staying afloat. Like
Okay.
that's my personality. Like, so I don't need to be in the front. Everybody who knows me know my role and know what I do, and I'm good with that. Okay. So the show was very uh developing the show. I was like, I kept telling Nicole, you made me do this. She's like, I didn't make you do anything. And it was because the show was somebody brought the idea to us. They
Right.
heard about our family. They said, hey, we think y'all would be great. And it was one of those moments like, us, we just go to work every day. Like we don't consider ourselves, of course, we know that we're talented, we know that we're blessed and
Hmm.
we're professionals, but we're like, y'all want to see, us, we're like regular people. Like, what do you mean y'all want to see us? And so
Hmm.
that was a big deal. But I think what was more important to me versus then my insecurities with being on TV, because I'm just gonna be real. The rumors about reality TV and how
Yeah.
it impacts
Yeah.
and change your life. If
Yes.
I act like I didn't hear any of that, I'm a lie, and I'm not lying. Okay, so we heard about the impact that it has on your marriage, your family unit. We've heard people, oh, don't do that. Y'all family won't be the same after that. So we're hearing that in our heads, like, oh my gosh. And then our family unit is tight.
Right.
So that's scary considering the fact that we see this as an opportunity. I mean,
Hmm.
what Carlos has done with his shows for Black women, okay,
Absolutely.
Carlos,
Absolutely.
we love Carlos for what he has done and elevated, not the shows. Like if you go back to Carlos shows, these are women in business. These are
That's
women
right.
with, that have a brand, that are intelligent, that are smart, and he's highlighting these with women. So I was like, okay, this is a great opportunity for our business to showcase our talents, to put our business on another level on a platform. But at the same time, like, I don't want to risk, ruining, my family at the same time. Like, where is that balance? So that
Hmm.
was always I'm just being honest. That's all I can, that's all I can
Yeah.
do.
Keep it real.
That
Keep it
was,
above me.
that was always in the back of my head, even when we were filming the show. Like, how can I give of myself in an authentic
Hmm.
way, for the viewers to like, it's like if I'm here and I'm showing up, I'm going to be authentic.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, they can call and tell us that we're not getting a season 2, season 3, etc. But my family has to be here with me.
Yes,
So
they
I
do.
can't ruin that relationship as well. So trying to balance, those two worlds.
Yeah, it's a daunting task, right? And
Yeah.
I think further to the point that you were making about some of the assumed dangers of reality TV or participating in it, it's a real thing, right? It's a
Mhm.
real conversation. It's a real tangible thing that we can see where there's been impacts of people's participation that may not have been the best. But one thing I really love about Family Empire Houston is it's in the title. family. This is
Mhm.
a family. So this is not a show about people, you know, being at each other's throats. This is not a show about confrontation and disagreements. It's a show about family, and it's a show about family business. And as a person who's watched reality TV from back in the day, the first real world, okay, what made confrontation or disagreements, I guess, fascinating to watch was the rarity of them, right? Typically, when
Mhm.
you see people on TV, they're not fighting and arguing and screaming at each other.
No.
And so when that would happen, there would be a proper build up. You would understand how people arrived at those emotive expressions, and
Yeah.
it made sense. We weren't watching it to watch a fight. Similar to this show, you guys
Mhm.
are a family and you work together. So
Yes,
of
we do.
course, with that sort of overlap, you're gonna bump heads, but it's not a nasty cutthroat way, and that's not the reason why we're watching this show and we're
No.
watching it, Jamisha. So I think it's interesting as well that you just let us know that you're not a person who typically craves the spotlight or craves attention, and that is really uh interesting to me as a person who's viewing this show, because you're one of the stars of this show, Jamisha. And what I love most about what you've brought to the show is you always have a positive, bubbly, joyful energy, laughing, fun, celebratory energy, even at times where it may not be easy to have that, or where you're
Right.
talking something that's a little more difficult. How in the hell are you doing that, Jamisha? Where is that good energy coming from in these?
It's being the oldest
Okay.
of a bunch of type A personality women. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
no, no. It's first of all, background plays part of my background is in management, is in sales, marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be able to engage with people,
Right.
and everybody at a situation. Unfortunately, everybody wants to win,
Right.
and when I interact with people, it's how do I try to find a place where people don't feel like they losing.
Mm-hmm.
And when you interact with personalities, you have to be able to see, it's not about trying to be 100% right. I don't think anybody wants to be 100% right, but people want to be seen and they want to be
Yeah.
heard. And being able to let people know, I see you, I hear you,
Yeah.
and let's just try to figure out what we can do together. Because trying to do everything apart, and that's why I love my family and I love working with my family, is we understand that all the best talents that we have, they are nothing without the other talents that we all bring to the table. And we
Yes.
just got to work together.
I love that. So speaking of the family working together,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I've enjoyed about watching the show, I'm originally from Flint, Michigan, the Detroit
Oh,
area
yeah.
that is like
Mm-hmm.
hair capital of the Midwest. Y'all not playing with the hair in Houston, okay? What we've seen so far between you, all your sister cousins, your
Mm-hmm.
sister Jaquita, everybody's hair is tight. And now we saw in this episode, your cousin Monet, your beautiful cousin Monet was
Yeah.
styling Nikki's hair or Nicole's hair.
Mm-hmm.
Does Monet do your hair too, or do you
Let
go
me
to
let me tell
somebody
you
else?
all that wonderful extensions and sew ins that y'all
Uh-huh.
sew. That was Monet's hair. So Monet has the business.
Hmm.
So I go between Kendra and Monet.
Okay.
So Kendra get up at 4:30 in the morning. We got press. We have this. She could be at my house at 5:30 in the morning. Monet like, I got a baby. I got school. I got to take my kids. So when I can catch Monet, I do, because we love supporting each other in every way. Like if I can't
Hmm.
get her to do my hair, I'm gonna make sure I buy my hair,
Hmm.
from her and her business. So that's the only hair that I wear in my head. Okay. So all these people in my
Okay.
DMs talking about I'm a hair. Now I buy my hair from Mosaic Premium Hair. That's
That's
where my
right.
hair comes from. But I do use, you have to be convenient too. So convenience is very important.
That's cool. I love the
Yeah,
way you
no, we're
guys
gonna be
keep it in the
laid,
family
okay?
like that.
We are
Yeah.
going to be no, y'all not gonna catch us slipping on that, okay? We have seen the comments in other shows. Now y'all ain't catching us slipping. And if y'all do, it was because they changed up my schedule. Okay. I was about to go and they told me we need to do this today. Can you be flexible? Okay. That's the
That's
only
right.
reason. The only reason.
Now, are you speaking of Monet and the beauty salon? Are you involved with Monet's let's call it a mission, right? Her mission to kind of keep the salon managed appropriately underneath her care, and keep that property in the family portfolio. Are you team Monet with that, or where do you stand with that? The decision about the
So
beauty
you
salon
what you
property.
what you'll see is I try not to take too many teams.
Yeah, okay.
So
Okay.
I've told my cousins this in real life. Being the oldest, I can't take teams.
Mm-hmm.
Now I try to take right and reason. Like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I'm a reasonable person. And so, like I said, I won't take, I will never probably be like 100% Monet. I would like, Monet, I see, what you're trying to achieve here. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe that that has merit and that is great. And I think we need to follow in that direction. But I also see where, it's value in what they're saying too. And that's, I guess, because I'm the oldest, when we talk about intergenerationality and all that, there
Yes.
is wisdom that comes from the G1s,
Mm-hmm.
but there's also a new innovativeness that comes from the G2s, and we
Mm-hmm.
have to find a way to bring that together. It's not
Mm-hmm.
about overstepping, anybody in their mission. It's about all these issues have merit. They all
Yeah.
make sense. But if you being right and you being right and ain't nothing get done,
Yep.
how can we bring these rights together to be on the right path? And that's it. And that's what drives me crazy. It's like people like, I'm no, 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 no. And it's like, come on now, we got to move forward. And I guess that's my role in entrepreneurship as well. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I get it. But I know I see her vision and I absolutely love it. Like,
Yep.
I think that's what needs to happen. But I do understand as well, Aunt Nikki got her cosmetology license. So I don't want to get in the middle of that. That's my big sister. Okay. Aunt Nikki, that's my big
Yes.
sister. We're only 9 years apart.
Right,
So
right, right.
Aunt Nikki and I only 9 years apart. So that's my big sister.
Yep. So she kind of gets down a little bit with Nikki's right in the middle. Your aunt Nikki.
Yeah.
She's the youngest of the G1. So she
Yeah.
still kind of is in the mix with you all, the G2s, right?
Yeah. She's in that awkward middle. Like
Uh-huh.
her sisters was like old and acting like mamas and stuff when when she, but it's still that gap too because she's still our aunt. So it's just, she's in that weird kind of spot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's in that weird, and especially for us, we're 9 years apart, but even Nicole and I are like 3 years apart. And Jaquita
Mm-hmm.
and I are like 4 years apart. So
Mm-hmm.
D'Angela and I, that's my big sister. I'm the oldest. I didn't have a sister. That's my big sister.
That's your big sister. I think
That's my
that's
big sister.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about your husband, Justin. Now we see you
That's
guys
my
having,
baby.
the best kind of back and forth dialogue on this camera. And you can
Yeah.
tell the chemistry is real. It's a real thing,
Yeah.
right?
It's
How did you and
real.
your husband Justin meet?
So we met. Okay, I get to tell my version of the story, by the way.
Okay.
He gonna be mad. Yes. So the way we met, so it was a love story, it was a love story.
Mm-hmm.
So my best friend got married and I was a bridesmaid.
Mm-hmm.
One of Justin's homeboys' friends got married and he was a groomsman.
Okay.
And so we met at the wedding. We were lined up to walk in. I'm talking to my groomsman. I'm like, oh, so and so, so and so. He was just like, oh yeah. He was like, we went to school together. So Justin jumps into the conversation, and Justin says, I know so and so. That's my cousin. He's behind me, by the way.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So I so gracefully turn around and I say, damn, you nosy. so, so this is as we're walking into the church. So after the
Uh-huh.
church, it was like, oh, so and so, that's your cousin. Okay, great, that's my good friend. And so we just, sparked up the conversation, and just kind of we I will say this, we had a common, we both Hennessy was one of our
Oh,
so it was a bar. It was an open bar. I'm put it like that.
that's right.
It was open bar, and he asked me, we've been conversing, and how you doing? Nice to meet you. Oh, that's your cousin. And he was like, would you like something from the bar? And I was like, I said, absolutely, I do. He was like, what would you like? I said, a Hennessy spritzer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, okay, what's that? It's a Hennessy Sprite and lime, but the madam broke away. It couldn't just be a Hennessy Sprite and lime. It was like, it's a
It's a
Hennessy spritzer.
spritzer.
It's a
Okay.
spritzer, a Hennessy
That's
spritzer.
right.
And so he told me that day, he said, he told his friend that was at the wedding, he was like, this woman like Hennessy. That's gonna be my wife.
That's right.
And here we are, over 10 years later, just loving on each other.
Now, let me tell you something. If anything can bind somebody together in union, in matrimony, it's Hennessy. Okay. It's
It's
Hennessy.
Hennessy.
So
It's
I feel you. I
Hennessy.
love it too. I love it too. And
Mhm.
it's an acquired taste. I don't care what nobody
It
has to
is.
say. If you know, you know, and I appreciate Hennessy. So
Yes.
Jamaica,
So I
we
have
right here
grown up.
with
I
that.
don't spritzer it down as much anymore. I will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
Just
yes.
sip it on the
Yeah.
rocks,
I will
Yeah.
sip it a little bit. I will sip it a little bit.
I think that is hilarious. Now, you've been working with your family for many, many years with the
Mhm.
Braden Real Estate Group.
Yeah.
And prior to that, I know that you all had kind of been under the tutelage of your grandmother, Oscareen, and your grandfather,
Yeah.
and their incredible business acumen
Absolutely.
and just relentless pursuit of success, right?
Yes.
Do you have any business interests that do not involve your family? Or is that something that you plan on doing? Like,
Absolutely.
okay, talk to us about Jamisha, about what Jamisha wants to do that is a little bit outside of the scope of maybe collaborative projects with family.
Absolutely. So, I don't even know if I'm giving away too much because they might, if we get a season two, yeah,
Okay,
everybody gets its
when you
own
get
Kingdom
one,
Ray.
that's
So,
right.
but one thing that's important to me, I have three children and
Mm-hmm.
I have a husband. And so the Braden legacy is so important to me. But a big part of that Braden legacy is I want to solidify that. So that's working with my
Mm-hmm.
family. But I have to understand that there's a good old family legacy at stake here as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does my family legacy, like my grandfather, when he passed away, he had a funeral of a dignitary.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me put into question, what's my legacy going to be like? Like, what,
Mm-hmm.
when I leave this world, I'm going to say reality TV star, real estate broker, what is the legacy? And so to
Right.
ask this question, I've thought about that. Like, what does Jermisha, want to do? So real estate is in my blood. Outside of my
Mm-hmm.
family, outside of, whatever's going on, I do understand being in this industry, millionaires are made in real estate. Okay. It's no denying that. Wealth is
100%.
being built in real estate. So I
Yes.
want to get into development. Personally,
Mm-hmm.
my husband, this is Justin and I both, we talk about what are
Mm-hmm.
our goals together. So talking about Jamisha goals and talking about Justin goals, they kind of work, hand in
One
hand.
hand in hand. Yeah.
Hand in hand, so we want to get into, possibly real estate development. We want to
Yeah.
get into education. So Justin's family story is different from mine,
Okay.
you know so some education gaps there, as far as from a
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
community perspective,
Mm-hmm.
he didn't know it, like, all this, a lot of this stuff is new, so
Right.
understanding. So we really want to teach, we want to educate, like, I'm passionate when we get into the legacy
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
made that little
Yeah.
video, legacy. Legacy is real for your haters, okay? It's
It
real.
is.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
real. And so I want to speak on that. Like, I want to be able to be I am on a national platform, but
Yep.
be in a place where I can go to communities and share, the importance of legacy and how to make it where it doesn't seem so overwhelming. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's why people don't participate in it, because, and this is what I've been told, is that it just seems so overwhelming. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how can I, just be little old me? How this just don't even seem feasible. Like, so
Yeah.
I want to be in that space. I got some other ideas. I'm not gonna tell, I can't tell
No,
everything. Okay.
you
Y'all not gonna get
keep
into
them in
my
your
intellectual
pocket.
property, but I do want to get into public speaking. Like, everybody that, like you said, like, you see me, you like, you're not a front forward person. I'm me. I've never said
Yeah.
I wasn't great,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I don't
Yeah.
need to
Yes.
hog the spotlight to, try to, for, that role. And so, but I love speaking. I love
Yes.
resonating with people. I love talking. Like, I love that. Like, it's something very passionate to me. And that's something I would love to pursue, doing that as well. And
That
I
makes
realized I'm
perfect
really
sense.
good at narrating. Okay. I
Uh-huh.
narrated the shit out of episode one. Okay. I had to go back and watch it a few times. Okay.
Yeah.
I said, oh, this is a whole nother line of business stream.
It literally is that narration, voice acting, that whole space is
Like,
something that is very lucrative. And if you have a natural knack, that's also a skill and a talent that either you have or you don't. And so if
yeah.
it comes naturally to you, Jamisha, you know what I say, go for it. Do it.
Go,
Pursue that.
Dustin, I'm with
Yes.
you. Go for it.
Yes.
Go for it.
Pursue
But
that.
no, but I love that.
Um,
I love that.
I think this is cool because I think a lot of people struggle with how they would even approach balancing such a large overlap between your personal life and your professional life when you work in such close proximity with family and there are spouses in the mix and things like that. What could you, if you had to give somebody some advice, because your family can drive you crazy, we know that, right?
They
uh
do.
what is the advice that you give people who may be interested in going into entrepreneurship with family on such a large scale? Because this is not just,
Mm-hmm.
a whim that you guys tried. You guys built a business
Mm-hmm.
together.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give to somebody about managing that overlap necessarily of personal and professional? Just like keeping that, I guess, as clear as you can.
It's respect.
Yeah.
And the reason I've seen people come to me all the time. They're like, I couldn't work with family. I don't know how y'all
Hmm.
do it. I couldn't do it. And when I
Hmm.
talked to them about it was a respect situation. It's that
Hmm.
people don't want their cousins being their boss, or people don't
Yeah.
want to feel like their sister. Like, if it's an older sister, you're not running me, because that's a familiar, you know, um, you know, perspective. But when it comes to business, and I don't know if that's unique. I don't know if you can make people respect you, but the people is knowing the people that's working for you. Now we don't go and just put our job applications at the family reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just be
Mm-hmm.
real. We're not doing
Mm-hmm.
that. The people that we're working with are people that are in our business, are people that we understand and know their talents, and we know their
Right.
strengths, and we know their level of professionalism. So what I tell you more so is, don't put family in your business that you do not respect in those roles.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, not saying, I'm telling you from mistakes that have, sometimes because someone is family, you just won't feel like it's your responsibility to give them a chance.
Yeah.
Families are big. There's other family members you can put in your business to make it
Yeah.
successful. And so that's the balance, is making sure that we're putting people in the right roles, because at the end of the day, like I said earlier, we want everybody to feel like they won and they're winning.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna put you
Mm-hmm.
in a role that you feel like you're winning. I'm not gonna put you a role in my company where you over there, you're not performing, you're not doing this, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and then it causes tension, but you was never meant to be in that role in the first place.
Right. So it's just a
It's just
misalignment
put,
at the beginning.
yeah, it's put people
Yeah.
where their strengths lie, and not because they're family, but because, fortunately, I just got a talented ass family,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that granny juice is just
Yep.
granny. We say granny a lot because granny is here,
Mm-hmm.
but and I guess that's the direction when I see my family. And I know you didn't ask this question, but
Mm-hmm.
it's granny and papa were strong together.
Right. Right.
And she might was brains, but
Mm-hmm.
Papa was the brawn. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of time you could have vision, but if you don't have anybody with you to execute on that vision,
Yep. It
don't
just
care how
remains
smart,
dormant.
how educated, how this and how that you are, then your ideals will fail.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I think that's why Nicole and I work together so well.
Mm-hmm.
She is now I will, like, let me analyze this, let me look at this is where I
Mm-hmm.
think our vision should be going, let me do some let me check this out, I think this is an opportunity for growth, doing this. She's like, okay, when we doing it,
Yep. Put it into action.
let's put it into action. And
Yeah.
that's where you have to have people that you partner with that are willing to, y'all can't be the same person.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people that we organically are, we lean into people that are like us a lot. Those
Mm-hmm.
are good for your friends, but that's not good in a partnership. You got to
Yeah.
lean toward people that uplift your weaknesses. So that's
Absolutely.
how y'all work together. And that's why Nicole and I, and we've known this for years, that we were completely different people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's just who we are. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but we
Mm-hmm.
have the same values, and that's a good thing about working with family. When we're interviewing people that come off the door off the street, we don't know, what your background is. We don't know what your family structure is. We don't know what your
Yeah.
values are. You can leave here and have a satanical party, and you tell me
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
You don't know these people, but with family,
Yeah.
I know what your upbringing is. I
Mm-hmm.
know your values at the end of the day. Even if you fall short, I know that at least, but you still have a strong foundation, and that makes it easy. It makes
You
it
can
easy.
tell. You can tell that you and Nicole make a great team together,
Yeah.
manning the ship
And then
and
I can cuss
leading.
out too. You can't cuss out
Yeah,
these
yeah.
random. I'm like, shut the hell up, leave me alone. I'm gonna go in the office. Shut the hell up and leave me alone. But if you say that, and it's you just go in your office, and you just move on. Like, you can do
Keep it
that with
moving.
family, and
Yeah,
keep it moving, and keep it
yeah.
moving.
Quite
Yeah.
literally, and again, this is something that resonates through the screen when we're watching you all operating as CEOs and kind of leading the charge over there at Braden Real Estate Group. You can tell the balance, you can tell the way that you all play to each other's strengths, and you can tell that that's really the engine that keeps the Braden Real Estate Group moving, in the right direction. Could you see you and Nicole working on projects outside of Braden Real Estate Group, or is it just
Nicole and I can always work together
yeah,
on
yep,
all
yep.
on all types of projects.
It's
I
a
feel
winning
once you can
team.
work in one area of business together, and once the hardest part is people wanting to do, and this is not a business podcast, but just the hardest part, when when you work for yourself, is one thing. You have to
Mm-hmm.
do everything. When
Mm-hmm.
you're working with a partner, the hardest thing is identifying who's supposed to be doing what.
Mm-hmm.
So in the beginning, and it's because we learned this in the beginning, everybody doing everything. When some falls or the ball is dropped somewhere, you're pointing fingers at each other, because I thought you were supposed to do that. Well, I thought you were supposed to do that. I thought you were supposed to know that. You said you was going to do it. Look at the text message. Oh, well, I guess I
Yeah.
forgot to respond.
Yeah.
Once we
Yeah.
got to the point in our business where we delineated our duties and
Mm-hmm.
said, this is associated with your strengths. Like, Misha, you good here. You do
Mm-hmm.
that. Well, Nicole,
Mm-hmm.
you good here. You do that. And then it was understood when we talked, was like, Heifer, why you ain't do that?
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
was like, my bad. I was like, my bad. That was on me. I dropped the ball here. Let me pick up versus pointing the fingers at each other, because that's what causes tension when you point the fingers at each other versus owning up and being responsible to what you were supposed to do that you didn't execute on. And now that's how we can guide and that's how we can move forward.
You, and like I said, you can see that that there's effective communication between the two of you, and it yields results, right? Good
Yeah.
results. And that's obviously like a rhythm or a chemistry that you try your best to protect, maintain, not interrupt unnecessarily. And we saw a scene in this week's episode where you all were having a family get together at your house, which you said is the spot. I
That's the
related to that
spot.
because amongst my friendship group, everybody brings their ass over my apartment. This is just the
Invited or
place where
not.
people come. So I felt you on that, and I love it. I'm not complaining,
No,
right?
no, no.
But we saw your Aunt Charlotte having, offering commentary on a conversation that we saw between your mom, or excuse me, not your mom, your Aunt Joy and your cousin Lakeisha, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah.
kind of referenced some things that were a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, dicey, a little bit
Mm-hmm.
tricky,
Who you telling? It's my
uncomfortable to
family.
hear.
Uh-huh.
Right. And so your Aunt Charlotte made a good point about that conversation having farther reaching impacts, or like ripple effects that extended beyond just them, but may
Mm-hmm.
even overlap into like the flow or communication that you and Nicole had at work.
Yeah.
Did that happen, or were you all able to successfully avoid that kind of impacting your flow?
We are, but I think because we work, me and Nicole talk like 20 times a day.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we have a really, and of course we don't share everything, especially
yeah,
everything that
yeah.
happened at home, and but we communicate a lot, and we even
Mm-hmm.
communicate on things that are uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And where other people, I'm not this damn wall. Some people do have walls.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole and I don't
Mm-hmm.
have walls,
Mm-hmm.
so it's even some things, I've been like, hey, this ain't gonna play out like, this is not, going to play out like, or you might hear this,
Yeah.
but this is, we try to have that conversation. It's not to, necessarily get each other to agree. It's just that out of the mutual respect that I have for you as my cousin and my business partner, I want to
Mm-hmm.
share with you that this might make you uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying I'm speaking my truth and be authentic, but my intent, I'm really big on it. So I'm real big on intent.
Same. Yep.
So I realize we're not perfect. We say some effed up shit sometimes. I do
Yeah.
some people
Yep.
do effed up stuff. But what was it rooted in? Like, what's the intent? Like the whole scene with like A Nikki, and Caramel and Keisha, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Like I was watching the comments and I'm like, oh, y'all killing me.
Yep.
But I truly believe that her intent, now, should
Mm-hmm.
she have done it or not? That's up for discussion. But I truly believe, knowing her and truly believing, I know her intent was pure.
Yeah.
So, we could say yes, no. I don't really get in on a yes and no, but I know
Yeah.
that the intent was pure. And so I'm an
Yep.
intent person. And that carries more weight on whether, because I know I'm not perfect. And so I don't expect other people to be. But what was
Yeah,
your
for sure.
intent?
So with that sort of focus on intention, right? And giving people grace where it may be necessary,
Mm-hmm.
how did you feel about maybe your Aunt Joy's words in that conversation when she kind of referenced or alluded to maybe a family situation with your mom and your immediate family? How'd you feel about her in comparison, or kind of inclusion of that in that conversation?
Well, it goes back to intent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like, what was the need to, bring it up? Was it in a spirit of healing?
yeah, yeah,
Or was it to be petty? Which I don't know. I'm gonna
yeah,
find out when y'all find out. Okay.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
what was the intent of the conversation? Because a lot of times we say stuff people don't like, and that's just life, like we're not here to be likable all the time.
yeah,
But what, like I said, it comes to, was it in a spirit of healing? Like, or was it to be petty? Like, what was and I'm still trying to figure that out. And
Are they
like this
friends?
show,
Are your mom, Jackie, and your Aunt Joy, do they have like a personal friendship, or is it like a familial
it's
bond
a
that
familiar, yeah.
okay,
It's all
yeah.
familiar. Like we all rock,
It's
roll,
family.
it's
Yeah.
it's family. So it's kind
Yeah.
of hard to, like what is that? But it's so familiar. Like everybody be at each other's houses. It ain't like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going over her. Like we don't do none of that.
Right. Right.
is, picking up grandkids from each other houses, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go over, Joy and Bubba house and pick up Harper because Harper love
Mm-hmm.
her sister cousins, because they
Mm-hmm.
got their own
Mm-hmm.
little, unit.
G,
So
what are they? G3 or
they the
G4? G3.
G3s.
G3. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the
Okay.
girls, they rock hard. Like the girls rock hard. They
I
make our
love that.
sister cousin ship look like they rock hard. Okay. So we were all myself, Nicole, myself, Nicole, and Monet, we were all pregnant at the same time. They're all the same
Wow.
age, and we all
Oh
had
my
girls.
goodness. Yeah.
And so they rock hard. Okay.
Those three,
Be
huh?
on the,
Okay.
be on the lookout for their YouTube. Okay. They're gonna say guest
Okay.
starring Carter. They say they're gonna have Carter guest starring.
I love
Uh
that.
but yeah, but no, so no, it's familiar, like, and that's the thing is like, so I'm gonna bring something up that you haven't even brought up.
Okay.
When they talk about sweeping under the rug,
Mm-hmm.
we do sweep stuff under the rug,
Mm-hmm.
but it's one of those like, isn't what's the is the with the benefit, like we still have to proceed as a family. So what's more
Absolutely.
important, like to just talk about it and everybody feel heard, or is it to move the family unit along? And it's such a hard one because everybody has a different perspective, on it. And
Right.
so some stuff just gets swept for the good of the family, because our
Yeah.
family unit is, especially because how my grandma raised our family, family is important because she was adopted. Like
Mm-hmm.
family takes on
Mm-hmm.
another level for her. Like
Yeah. The
it's it,
value
it,
and
it yeah, the
meaning
value
of
of
it.
it is a
Yeah.
family. And so it's like put that petty to the side and
Yep.
we're gonna just, we're gonna just move on with it. And so things do get swept under the rug, just to be
Yep.
honest.
Yep.
And that's not always good. So we didn't say our family was perfect.
No
Nobody,
one's is.
no
No
one
one's
is,
is.
and it's not trying to be perfect. It's just, sometimes everybody got different coping mechanisms on what works, and that's just how
That's
things,
just what it is.
it's the real for us at least.
I went to a family funeral last weekend in my hometown, and I saw family members that I literally hadn't seen in 20 years, Jamisha, and was running into them, and I can remember conflicts, I can remember grudges I had, different things, and when I saw them, when I saw them, when I saw them over the
Mhm.
weekend, it was as if it just went right out the window. You know
It's
what I mean? It wasn't even
yeah,
a thought.
absolutely,
So
absolutely,
sometimes you just move
absolutely.
on with stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you can
Um,
hold on to it. You can hold on to if you want to.
yeah.
It's like, but it's so much on the other side,
And it's tricky how you measure that, right? Because when things are matters of the heart, when they are personal things for you, it's hard to gauge, or it's actually almost inappropriate to try to measure, someone else's feelings and the
Mm-hmm.
worth of them in a situation. So it's tricky to kind of filter out what's worth it and what's not worth it to kind of unpack. But you're right, sometimes you have to sacrifice certain things to for the sake of progress. And I
Yeah.
think that's a testament to true character, being able to try your best with that, with managing that. You know what I mean?
Because it
I
ain't easy.
also thought that it was funny that you mentioned on this week's episode that when your cousin Lakeisha joined the Braden family as a whole, or was introduced to the Braden family, basically when y'all were like 7 or whatever. She was 7. You mentioned that.
That's all up in the way too. But anyway,
Oh
go
my
ahead.
goodness. But when you mentioned that, you said, look, we was kids, we was eavesdropping, trying to figure out what was going on. Talk to me about what you remember about like Keisha being introduced to your family, because now that's your sister cousin. You know what I mean? Y'all
Yeah,
spent time together growing up. It is what it is. What do you remember about that moment
that's a
or that?
hard one,
Yeah,
Dustin. It's
yeah.
hard because we were young, like when you're really
Mm-hmm.
thinking about development of memories, like so this is what I found out afterward. This is exclusive to Dustin
Okay.
Ross. Okay.
Hey.
Uh Keisha been around the whole time. Like, but our memories don't recall her until around. And then I guess that makes
Yeah.
sense when you start thinking about people memories. Like we told one of our aunts that, and it's like, what y'all talking about? Keisha had been coming around. Like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But none of us remembered, including Keisha. Like we looking at each other like, when you start coming around, like what was that? Like, we don't remember. Like it was in that 5, 6, 7, it was young, it might be younger than that. We don't remember.
See, this was
So
Keisha. It's just Keisha, your
this
cousin.
Keisha,
Yeah.
this Keisha, there go your cousin Keisha. Hey, cousin
Yeah.
Keisha,
Yeah.
what you want to play? Like, unless,
Yep.
so it wasn't that, you know, like, we didn't feel all of that. Now, like like looking back on that now, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, that didn't make. Why was she over
Mm-hmm.
here? And
Mm-hmm.
that's now. Even in one of her on her interview scenes on the show, she was like, it wasn't until later that I felt things.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So when we were young, I didn't feel any of this. We were kids, and when kids just be playing, like we was country Southern kids. You better stay out of grown folks' conversation.
Yeah.
Y'all better go over there with all that. So it wasn't us trying to figure out, maybe if I was like 13 or older, when I had, but we were
She's just a
young.
part of
So
your
it's
childhood. She's
we
just a
was part
part of
of
your
our childhood.
childhood.
Like that was my
Yeah.
cousin Keisha. We just didn't see her as much as we saw Nicole and Monet.
Yeah.
But that's because we understood that she didn't have the same mom. So
Yeah.
that's just why we didn't see her as much. But
Yeah.
all of that was not, that was grown-up problems. We were kids.
So I thought it was interesting as well in this episode that because of the conversation that Lakeisha and your Aunt Joy had, and your Aunt Joy making the comments that she made pertaining to, alluding to your family or whatever, that was our introduction to kind of the origin story of your brother, right? Or you all having a brother. Was that, which I felt like is really none of, that's something that you all, share at your will, or whatever, it's personal.
Uh,
Was that dynamic of your family, and the origin story specifically of your brother, was that something you all had intended on talking about?
Not at all. And
Okay,
not
yeah,
because of not
not because
even
it's a
because of
secret,
the secret. It
right?
was because this is a Brayton family show.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, my mom and dad are divorced,
Mm-hmm.
and so since my dad's not even a part of the show,
Mm-hmm.
uh, they're divorced, we just didn't, it wasn't like somebody would have asked us. We have a great relationship. We was just together for 4th of July. He doesn't live
Yeah.
in Houston. He don't live in
Mm-hmm.
Houston.
Okay.
So, so it was just one of those things like, why is this why is this being brought up?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so, like I tell you, what was the
The
intent?
intent. Yeah. The word for today is intent, right? What was
Yeah,
the
like,
intent?
and so it was, so no, he's no secret. Like every time
Yeah.
we go visit kid, we just saw him recently. My dad had something, they had like a little family reunion gathering. It's it's been always love, so
Yeah.
it's no secret. It's just it is.
I think it's interesting because, like I said, I'm the youngest of four siblings. I come from a
Mm,
big family, lots of cousins, all of that. And we're not a family who typically, we don't say like step, half, any of that. That's your brother, that's
yeah.
your cousin, whatever it is. So I was watching that happen. I just thought it was interesting. You know what I mean? That
Mm,
that was being highlighted because once it was introduced to the conversation as viewers, oh, okay, that's how that happened, and we moved right on. It was completely
yeah,
insignificant to the
yeah, it's my
story.
brother.
Yeah, exactly, and
Like,
and we respect that. So,
he's my brother.
um,
He's my older brother. That's my. And like I say, that's my brother, and he loved his sister. So
I also thought it was funny personally when you all were having the conversation at the rodeo, and all the hands sort of went into the pot, so to speak, about the
oh my
decisions,
Lord, it
and
was so much
everybody
going
had
on.
dialogue, right? When your Aunt Nikki, who is G 1.5, right? So when your Aunt Nikki said, "Hey, basically, I'm gonna shut this down and move on from this. I'm here. I'm representing, my parents in the real estate manner. This is it." And your mom, who we know is her sister, said she always got something to say. I thought that was hilarious because that's the dynamic that my
Right.
brother is literally my best friend. We talk every day, 30 times, and we cuss each other the hell out all day
Yep.
long.
I
So I
love
thought
it.
that was interesting. Does that banter exist pretty much amongst the family in general? Like
We
you
the
go back
most
and forth.
shit
Yeah.
talking ass
Yeah.
family. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Like,
Yes.
so, and that's one thing that people that know us, right? They're just
Hmm.
like, who is like, y'all, we are silly. Like
Yeah.
they had, so people see us really in our familiar setting. on this show. Like they're watching us when we leave an event and we're together. Like, so the people that they think they know and the people that they've met, in the world, it hasn't been aligning all the way, you
Right.
know. So we family. It's like that's what family does. Be like, shut up, leave me
Right.
alone.
Right. Right.
Like, be quiet. Like she always got something to say. And we move like it's just that's what family, but then, oh my gosh, I can't believe she would tell her to like, where's the respect? People like we're family, we're not
Okay.
that type of family. Like we're really lighthearted, you know,
Yeah.
and just move on. So yeah, it's a lot of banter. We be talking to each other crazy all the time.
I love that. I love that. So before we get out of here, Jamisha, like without giving away, right, anything
Can't
that's
do
to come
that.
in the seasons, just in general, what can we look forward to coming from Family Empire of Houston in the future episodes?
Let me tell you, y'all, this is what y'all been waiting for, Dustin. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
It's
Yep.
it's family dynamics.
Yep.
And everybody, is how, oh, y'all trying to be perfect or y'all trying to do this. It's no, all families are complicated.
Yep.
And all we're trying to do is try to figure out how do we exist in this world together. And that's when you're gonna see things happen. It's like we have to get along because y'all ain't going nowhere. We stuck
Yep.
together. So
Yep.
we got to be stuck together. We're gonna figure this out. And sometimes we're gonna be yelling, sometimes it's gonna be shouting, sometimes it's gonna be loving, sometimes it's gonna be prayer. But at
Yep.
the end of the day, we're gonna move forward and we're gonna progress together because we all we got.
Well, I love
And
that.
that's what it
That's
is.
literally you had it. You hit the nail on the head when you said this is what we want. I know that's what I want from the show. In the spirit of figuring it out, I'm a
Mhm.
solutions based man myself,
Tell you.
and I love the way that when you had the meeting with the Sheltons and they proposed to you the 28 lots, I believe it was, on the
Mhm.
parcel of land, and you will never stopped. When they told you some numbers that didn't make sense, you said, okay, well, then we got to look at it from the for rent perspective. Well, what do we need to do that's more attractive? Let's reshape the conversation,
Mhm.
reshape the numbers and focus it that way.
Absolutely.
You figured it out. So I'm looking
You'll
forward to
figure it
seeing
out.
what happens with that land. I know what I want to happen with it. So I feel like it's my
Oh, you
damn
gotta
land.
let me know after the call, Dustin. I want to know
I
what you
will.
want. I want to know.
I sure will, Jamisha. But thank you so much for chatting
Yeah,
with us today. Hopefully, we can do this again before the season is up. I want to revisit our conversation once we complete
absolutely.
season 1 and kind of get your reflections on that. So I look forward to speaking with you again. Thank you so much, Jamisha. And everybody, catch Family Empire Houston on the OWN Network, baby, Friday nights. Let's talk about
Body
it.
nice and
That's
hey.
right. That's
Yeah, we're
right. Thank you
excited.
so much, Jamisha.
Thank you, Dustin. It was a pleasure.
All right, for sure. Talk to you
All
later.
right.